Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Wednesday, January 4th, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Wednesday in college basketball. First up, it's Oklahoma and Iowa State. This one, ESPN2 at 7 o'clock Eastern. We see a ranked team here on the road in Iowa State, but the home team, the unranked team in Oklahoma, is the favorite. And that was expected. You know, these two teams, pretty similar records. Iowa State at 10-2, 1-0 in conference play, while Oklahoma is 0-1 in conference play, but they lost to Texas, a very good team, and only by 1 point, and Oklahoma is 9-4 this season. Played a pretty tough non-conference schedule. I just think this matchup on paper benefits Iowa State a lot more. Just defensively, you look at Iowa State, number 1 in the country in turnover percentage on defense. They force a turnover on 30.7% of their opponents' possessions, and Oklahoma's had issues turning the ball over this year, coming off a game against Texas where they had 15 turnovers, and overall this year, 231st in turnover percentage on offense. And Oklahoma has really benefited offensively from making a lot of tough shots. This is the 28th ranked team in adjusted offensive efficiency, but number 6 in effective field goal percentage, number 9 in three-point percentage. And Grant Sherfield, the transfer from Nevada, has been a big part of that. He's been 52% from three-point range this year. Now, that's not going to hold up for all this season, but still, really impressive stuff to see. A guy that can make a shot basically from anywhere on the court, but against this Iowa State defense that's 12th in adjusted defensive efficiency, forces its opponents to take tough shots and make a lot of mistakes, and is good against the perimeter, 53rd in the country in three-point defense. I just don't think Oklahoma is going to be able to get those easy buckets. And the fact is, if Oklahoma was a good offensive rebounding team, maybe they'd be able to exploit the Iowa State defense that's struggling defensive rebounding-wise, ranked 287th. But Oklahoma is one of the worst offensive rebounding teams, not only in the Big 12, but in the country, 340th in second chance opportunity percentage. So, I just don't think this matchup benefits Oklahoma. They are the home team. They're looking to upset a ranked team, so the motivation's certainly going to be there. And in conference play, every game matters a ton, but I do think Iowa State is the better side in this one. I also think that Iowa State offense a little bit underrated right now. So give me the Cyclones in this game. I'm willing to take the points with Iowa State. Next, we have Clemson and Virginia Tech. This one's going to be 9 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU. And I think because of these teams' recent games, we're going to get some value with the home team in this one. These teams are really similar, both 11-3 overall this year, both very good shooting teams. Both defenses are not the best, but I do think Virginia Tech is the better defensive team, is the better offensive team, and they're playing at home here, coming off back-to-back losses to teams that you would expect Virginia Tech to beat in Boston College and Wake Forest. So there is creating some value here with the public kind of turning their heads to Virginia Tech in this matchup, while Clemson on the other side, a 3-game win streak. They won their first 2 games, or they won their first 3 games of conference action. Their last 2 games against Georgia Tech and NC State. They also beat Richmond in a semi-home game not too long ago. So Clemson's in good form. On paper, Virginia Tech is struggling a little bit, but I do think Clemson being on the road, you look at they've only played 2 true road games this season. One at Georgia Tech, one of the weaker teams in the ACC. The other was against South Carolina, not a very good South Carolina team this year, and that was a 2-point loss for Clemson. So I worry about that. It's not easy to play at Virginia Tech, that's for sure. They have a very, very good home court advantage, a very good shooting team, but a team that takes care of the basketball. I do think Virginia Tech's offense gets going in this matchup. I think the defense sharpens up as well, and because of these recent games, we're getting a good price with the home team. So give me Virginia Tech in this one. I'll lay the points. Next up, we see Penn State and Michigan. We're going to see a 7 o'clock Eastern start time on the Big Ten Network. Both of these teams are coming off really good offensive performances. Michigan, it was a bounce-back spot after their upset loss to Central Michigan. We saw Michigan bounce back in a big way, 81-46 win over Maryland. A solid Maryland team there, a blowout win for the Wolverines, and that's a way you bounce back for sure. Penn State on the other side, they're on a 5-game win streak, and their most recent game, they put up 80-plus points, 83-79 over Iowa, and they're playing really good basketball this year. But I'm looking at the total in this game. Right now, I have a system I want to share with you guys, regarding totals in college hoops. If a total closing line is 140 to 145, and both teams are coming off really good shooting performances, and when I say really good, the home team coming off a night where they were shooting 50 to 78% from the field. The visiting team, very similar, 50 to 75% from the field. The under has been a really profitable bet. It's 247 and 192, 56.3% since January 6th of 2007. That's a ROI of 8.1%. And if you put $100 on each of those plays, each of those unders since that 2007 game, you'd be up $3,600. So I'm going to take the under in this game. When you see two teams coming off really good shooting performances, usually the odds makers and even the public overreact a little bit. You get some value in a line, and I think we have some value on the under in this one. So give me the under 142 in Penn State, Michigan. Next up, we see Wake Forest taking on North Carolina. This one's going to be 9 o'clock Eastern on ACC Network. In my opinion, this is a perfect buy low spot for North Carolina, coming off a loss to Pittsburgh, a much better Pittsburgh team than what we thought going into the season, but a loss nonetheless. And we look on the other side, Wake Forest, 2 straight upset wins over Duke and over Virginia Tech. And both of those games were at home, though. When you look at the fact that Wake Forest has not really played too well, especially defensively away from home, you look at the game against Loyola Marymount where they lost at a neutral site. Their true road games to Clemson and Rutgers, they lost by 20 points to Clemson, 77-57, and by 24 points to Rutgers, 81-57. That's a Rutgers team that, yes, just pulled off an upset over Purdue, but a Rutgers offense that's not really that efficient this season. They only put up 65 points in that upset win over Purdue. So to give up 81 points to Rutgers in that game, very, very worrisome to me against a North Carolina offense that, sure, is not having a great start shooting the basketball, but is certainly able to score plenty of points. They're 11th in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency. They're 42nd ranked in average possession length. So I could see North Carolina scoring 85 plus points in this game. I think that's more than enough for a cover in the end. You know, Wake Forest can't be reliant on guys like Tyree Appleby to shoot 4 of 6 from 3-point range and, you know, really blast a team like Virginia Tech last week, or, you know, 11 of 28 from 3, 39% compared to 6 of 21 from 3 for Virginia Tech. You only win the game by 2 points. Very worrisome for me, and now you're going on the road. I think North Carolina wins this game very handily, so I'm going to lay the points here with the Tar Heels in this one. Next up, we see Loyola Chicago taking on Davidson. This one's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern start time, CBS Sports Network. Two teams that had great seasons last year. They were both in the NCAA tournament. Both teams were 10 seeds as mid-major schools. Very impressive. But, you know, both teams going through rebuilding years this year, and Loyola Chicago especially going to a new conference, losing a lot of production from last year's team. And now you're 6-7 this season, and a Loyola Chicago team and program that's been known for playing such good defense is now giving up 97 points to teams like George Washington. That's really concerning. And yes, you know, Loyola Chicago has been a very good shooting team this season. They're 26th ranked in effective field goal percentage, 12th in 2-point field goal percentage, but you're turning the ball over left and right, and overall your offense has not been very efficient, even though you have those good shooting performances. So now you go on the road here against a Davidson team that's been known more so as an offense-first team, but this year, not really the same offensive firepower that we've seen in Davidson teams in the past, especially last year's team that basically every single player on the court could shoot from the logo and had a pretty good chance of making those shots. But, you know, this year, this Davidson team is a good defensive team, especially against the perimeter, 39th ranked in 3-point defense. I think that bodes well against this Loyola Chicago team. I also just don't trust Loyola Chicago right now. The way they're playing defensively, away from home is not a good spot in a conference matchup. And Davidson, although they lost that last game to Dayton, I didn't think it was a very good spot for Davidson. We were actually on Dayton in that game, but give me Davidson in this spot for a nice bounce back win. Continue to fade Loyola Chicago as they're priced as last year's team and the teams before that, but this is just not the same team. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.